Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Unstoppable Pursuit podcast, where we are pushing the limits in business, life, and health. And today, we're talking about how we are in a constant state of becoming. I'm Therese Benson, and as you notice to my right, well, I guess to your left, if however you're looking at it, that handsome hunk of man meat is not here, but god dang, little mama, my wife, Therese Benson, she's here. So I'm really excited. She's in a career of journalism, and she's reports and anchors and does all sorts of really fun stuff with the news and media. She is super talented, so I don't really want to niche her in just that, really. But
thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, honey. Yeah, no, I'm not usually called a super hunky man meat.
I miss Mike.
Ever. I know you do. That's okay. You get to be the super hunky one on this show today.
All right,
and
Mike.
then Mike will be back next week.
Mike will be back next week. He's taking a short hiatus. So, but in honor of Mike, of course, Dominate Your Day reading.
Right.
And she's going to read because I'm not an out loud reader.
That's right. And that's what I do for a living. All right. So today's reading from Dominate Your Day. I feel like I'm at church doing a reading.
That's good. Oh, God.
Today's reading from Dominate Your Day is about spirit. I dedicate this to Mike Stahl since he's not with us this morning.
This is for you, brother.
This is for all of us. Okay, we all have choices to make every day, some small and some large. Simple choices like what to eat, what to wear. Some large choices like attitude and vision for the day. Each and every day, we have to take some chances as well. Chances are small leaps of faith that something good will happen, small risks, if you will. On the other side of those risks could be something truly special. For instance, change. Change is special. Change brings opportunity. Change brings growth. Change brings you closer to a better you. Being a better you is exactly who you should strive to be. There is a bit of excitement in it. Embrace that. Change, in my opinion, is absolutely necessary. Thank you, Mike, for your wise words.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, check out Dominate Your Day. You can check that out at michaelstahl.com. Get yourself a copy. It's filled with tons of great stuff. So, what is a constant state of becoming, babe? Like, what do we, are we always, we are as humans, I believe, always in a constant state of becoming.
We're ever changing. That's the key. Life, I think once you stop becoming, life ends, and that's not what we want.
Yeah, I think waking up with that purpose and understanding that there's always that next thing. It's a great book I read called Peaks and Valleys, which, you always see the next peak. You always see that next thing that you want to get to or to achieve. But you have to understand, like, to get there is a state of becoming. Like, you always have to go through the crap and push yourself up that mountain until you get there, and then you'll see the next one, and then you'll see the next one, and you'll just always have to become more, right?
And you know me, I'm not a mountain climber.
No, not
in life. I hardly like walking on a treadmill when it's flat, to be honest with you. But we have to consistently find those peaks in our lives, and that a lot of times I think means peaks come with valleys, and you go through struggles because the next peak is going to be somewhere ahead, and you're constantly looking for that off in the distance and continuing to strive to better yourself. And that's what becoming is. I think becoming, a lot of it is finding the better version of yourself at the end of that hike.
Mm-hmm. And something like Therese has taught me when I first started this journey, because clearly she has more experience in being on air and things, but it was just like, I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't, I was like nervous to put myself out there and things, but
I'm still nervous every day.
Yeah, right. I don't think when you're in this constant state of becoming, there is like nerves and butterflies and things that are always going to come up, but it's like pushing yourself through that and always just doing and taking action and pushing yourself a little further every single day.
The nerves are good. The nerves are what keep you on your toes.
Right.
And if you get too comfortable, that's when you stop working as hard to become a better version of yourself. And a lot of us, every day we get up, we're in the same routine. You make your coffee, you get in the car and go to work, and you start your day. And a lot of our work days can feel like you're on this hamster wheel. And what I do, no 2 days are the same. I mean, I may go through kind of the same steps, the same routine to get there, but you just never know what's going to pop up in the world of local news and news in general. And so we just kind of roll with the punches all day long, and that's how you have to be. That's how it is in any business, though, even in what you do.
Yeah, I mean, everything's, everything is always in a constant change. You just have to have that adaptability and flexibility kind of mindset as you're going through this stuff. And you talked about nerves, use your nerves, anxiety, and a little bit of stress for motivation. I think too many people see that and they shut down. I mean, there's a certain point where too many nerves and anxiety and stress can make you shut down, but use at least a little bit of that to push you into the growth zone where you're moving forward, right?
Right, because there are plenty of people who are not fans of the butterflies. And, I think for both of us, maybe one of the reasons we've got along so well and formed the relationship we have is because we've both been these outgoing performers kind of most of our lives, and I think
I never liked the spotlight ever.
Whatever. You were talking last night about what was the play that you were in?
All right,
in
I was
college?
in a play. All right, a couple plays, did a couple things.
I mean, and as much as I was always the kid who was eager to do the talent show or whatever it might be, the second you take the stage and you look out into the audience and you see those people staring back at you, waiting for something to come out of you, that feeling sets in. And every day when I'm at work, I kind of am in the same room with the same 7 people, and I don't feel as nervous as I once did, 5 years into this job. But there are times where I'm delivering new information and it's something completely unknown to me, and I'm afraid of what's going to come out of my mouth, at any given moment of the day. It's just a matter of having control and trusting in yourself. I think that's so much of it, is trusting that you have the knowledge and the power within you, that you've been trained up until this point to use all of your tools in your toolbox to give out the best of yourself.
So how do we trust in ourselves more? Even when you're what about the person who's just first starting out? Okay, you've been trained, but it's okay, what about the person who's never been on air or anything? And okay, maybe you did some training in college, but when you were doing your first reporting gig, or when you did your first presentation of business, or the first time in the gym, whatever it is, how do you trust yourself that it's going to be okay?
You know, I think you've taught me, fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you become it, yes.
Fake it till you become it. My very first reporting job out of college, I had put together, this, what I thought was this great reel of all of my clips of really a bunch of non-news stories. It was me standing on campus at college, faking intros to stories. And I had a few things from internships that were legit and were aired, at my internships. But other than that, I had a bunch of nothing, but it showed at least some of the tools in my toolbox, some of my speaking skills or writing skills or production skills or whatever it might be. And it was that reel that I sent out to 200 or so different stations across the country. And at first it was only going to be a small area of the country, and then it kept growing. And every time my mom would drop off these giant bubble mailers for me at the post office and look at the address on it and North Dakota, where is my daughter going to be going? It was petrifying for her. So anyway, finally got my first job out of college in Grand Junction, Colorado. Teeny little market in the middle of nowhere, and it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. But I remember the first time reporting on air thinking, oh my gosh, did they realize they hired me and I haven't really done this in a legitimate circumstance yet? I mean, other than just for my own video purposes, which you can hit record and stop and record and stop.
Right.
To go live for the first time is the scariest thing I've ever been through. And you just muster up all those skills that you've built up and say, all right, I hope something smart comes out of my mouth, and I hope I don't look crazy while I'm doing it.
Yeah. No, I think you have made such a good point, but what I heard in that is doing a lot of those confidence booster builders behind the scenes, recording yourself, practicing, this always goes back to the practice, practice the way you play, play the way you practice kind of idea. So it's even though you were just by yourself hitting record, stop, practicing, but it was the repetition. It was helping yourself build enough confidence, watching yourself, giving yourself a little bit of critique, but you were still practicing until you were ready. And then when that moment arrived, it was like, okay, screw it, just do it, like get out there. And then you had to have like, okay, is this gonna work, is this not gonna work, who knows, but at least like you took the step forward,
right,
but had some of that practice behind you, which I thought was pretty cool.
Thank you. I think critiquing yourself is one of the best things you can do too. If you remember when I lived alone in Fort Myers, I would DVR 1 hour or a half hour of our morning show every single day, 5 days a week. And I would go home and I would watch whatever my report was that I went out in the field for, or whatever I was filling in anchoring or fully anchoring at the time, and or doing traffic, and just watch myself, because you're going to be your biggest critic, and I definitely am. I mean, I come home and I beat myself up some days, and that's why you have a good partner in your life to build you back up when you beat yourself down. But watching myself has been one of the most helpful things. So if you're in a different line of work and you can somehow go back and look at yourself and what you did the day before or the week before or the month before and analyze and say, how could I have done that better? I think that's one of the best things you can do, is be your own critic, be hard on yourself, but also have a good partner, whether it's in business or at home, who can give you some, out of body perspective and kind of bring you back down when you are too hard on yourself, and kind of build you up a little bit too.
Yeah, because I think sometimes I get home, or some, and maybe other people can relate to this, but it's like, you don't see sometimes how far you've come.
Yes.
And then that person's like, oh, like, because I'm sitting here like, oh, geez, like I haven't improved like at all probably, but you have that outside perspective, which is like super helpful. But learning from your critique, like Peyton Manning and Derrick Rose. Like I heard Derrick Rose looks back at all his films, at all like when the game before, and takes serious notes on all this stuff, what he could have done better, what was different, what was better. He watched his opponents, he watched what was happening, but that is the preparation that needs to maybe go into that constant state of becoming, because then it's just continuously like building leverage and putting more wind in your sails and pushing you forward. Like I think that's so important, the preparation behind that constant state of becoming. And
then just continuing to get up every day and
do
either ride the hamster wheel or get on the treadmill and just push through and keep going.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like pushing through that uncomfortable, that realizing that what, like where you want to be, but you may not be there. But don't settle for that mediocrity. Don't settle for like, oh, this is just how it's supposed to be. Like change your mindset to, I need to get to here. Like push yourself in that aspect, because mediocrity can it's a slow death. I mean, there's like Mike and I talked about this. There's a lot of dead people walking around because they've accepted mediocrity. Like be in that constant state of becoming, be in that position to excel and to put yourself, like have goals and put yourself in a place where you are going to feel fulfilled every single night. I
think too, there's so much that is out of our control, that things just happen to us in life. Like, somebody will get the position that you want at work, or the position that you did want just isn't open for you, or you'll be bumped down a notch because it benefits the company as a whole, and it is what it is. And that happens in our personal lives too. I don't think we were expecting to get pregnant when we did.
No.
We got married and found out 6 weeks later that we were about 6 weeks pregnant. So holy cow, life just kind of happens, and we couldn't be more excited.
Right, but what I really liked about that though is, like, even just before this we did Facebook Live and the microphone was broken, but both of us, and I really learned this from her too, so I can't take like full credit, but we talked about this, like adaptability and flexibility to the circumstances, and it's how you react. Like we were like, okay, just put the microphone here because it's going to be easier.
We only cursed at each other like twice.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Like a couple of small 4-letter words.
Yeah, exactly.
Just the nicer ones.
Yeah. We never fight, ever.
And we hopped on Amazon and we ordered a new mic cord, and it'll be here on Monday, so we're okay.
When you're in your constant state of becoming, just understand there's going to be adversity and challenges and things that are going to come up, but learn how to adapt, learn how when there's a problem, in anything, there's always opportunity, there's always a solution. So just be a solution-oriented mind, have a solution-oriented mind frame when you're moving forward in whatever you're doing, because you don't want like brick walls to stop you. We could have said, hey, let's not record because we don't have 2 microphones.
I was ready to go home and take a nap.
She's like, I'm ready for a nap, but I'm like, no way, Jose. And so we pushed through, and now
Sometimes
we're
he
here.
calls me Jose.
God. So how do we, accept being, in the constant state of becoming? That's what I want our audience to really like understand, is like, how do they just, I guess it's self-awareness a lot of the ways, right?
A lot of it is. I mean, a constant state of becoming is just, that's life. Mm-hmm. And, when you're a kid and your mom says to you, because I said so. I mean, that's kind of life. Being in your constant state of becoming is life saying to you, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people hate that phrase, and I kind of hate that phrase too. But it's just, how am I going to adapt to the circumstances that I'm in right now, even if my choices are what led me here. How can I put forth the best of myself and continue to try to radiate positivity, because that's one of the hardest things, I think, if you are just kind of going through the motions of life and at work and coming home and making dinner and dealing with your kids and all those kinds of things. There's a lot of negativity that you can let seep in, but it's pushing it out and trying to not only stay positive yourself, but give positivity back to the people around you.
Yeah, completely. And like Therese said, it's like, let your mind or your like inner self be like the mom in that situation, where it's like, do it because you said so. Like, let yourself, like, hold yourself accountable to being in a constant state of becoming. But it's like, because I said so. You just have to do it. Like, do it. Like, don't be afraid. Don't be worried about anything else, because I talk about this all the time. The only person you have to impress is yourself. That's
and
the
your spouse.
And your spouse. Yes, definitely. So I think that is all really important stuff. And I think, is there anything else that you feel that people should need to know and understand about this constant state of becoming?
I think one thing you have to always take time for is to make yourself happy. And whether that's running out and doing a little shopping, or going and indulging in, your favorite meal, a pizza or something, or just spending time with the people you love and kind of saying no to all of the other things that life is asking you to do. I think that's really important, is putting yourself first. Sometimes it means putting your spouse second, even for about an hour. Like, I need an hour just for me. I need to run out and just kind of do my own thing for a minute. And, so there's a cost factor associated with it. But if you aren't your best self, you can't continue to grow. And that's life.
Yeah, I totally agree. And so one of the, I guess a challenge would be like, start preparing for that next state of becoming, for that next goal, for that next piece of success that you want, for whatever that is, and use techniques like Therese said, like just personal happiness. You have to do something that is for you. Critique yourself. Like, so prepare for that next thing, and all those different tools that we've mentioned earlier. Like, but go for it. Shoot for the stars. You can do it. And if you guys need any help, look at this. We got a linebacker over here. She's ready to go. Browns fan.
We didn't pick
converted
the
Browns
tomorrow,
fan.
Though. They're playing at home, but we did not pick them in our pool.
Oh, it's sad. But go Bucks. Go Bucks,
Go Bucks
right?
today.
Go Bucks. Go Bucks. Playing Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
At 7:30, I think. So for all my homies that are the C-Bus fans, let's go Bucks. Oh, and since Mike is not here, we are going to do our health tip.
Yeah, our health tip was last night. We had pizza and cookies with our friends at Diamonds. Shout out.
Oh, God.
You guys
Well, don't tell them that, all right?
Oh, sorry.
Please,
we did.
We're healthy. No. All right,
well, I
we had a
got
cheat
my
day.
butt up and I went to Pure Bar this morning.
Yeah, I went to
out.
St. Mattress and did some other things.
You
But
can only say that on Sundays.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, the health tip is move your body. Get out there and do something that moves your spine, moves your limbs, that gets your heart rate up a little bit.
Except Jessie. If Jessie's watching, I don't want her to move her spine too much today.
Well, this is getting recorded on the podcast.
Sorry.
So anyway, I don't know if Mike will agree or disagree, but get out there and,
keep
and
moving.
move your body in different ways and just see all the things it can do, because your body is, as well as this whole conversation, is in a state of becoming too. Like, you can do different things, like you probably can do things that you've never even imagined, but you haven't probably pushed yourself or tried. So just get out there and move your body, and get out there and just stay in that constant state of becoming, because you can do whatever you want.
Sweet.
Right? All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Facebook Live. We freaking love you guys. I love all of you guys so much. Therese, thanks for being here. I love you. You're my wife.
Love
and
you.
We're going to maybe, go to Home Depot, Bed Bath & Beyond if we have time today. Who knows? Anyway.
Real crazy.
We'll see you guys on the next episode.